Here we go. Happy to be joined by Bruce McCulloch here. Woo! Party in the house. Before Bruce became one of the kids in the hall, of course, he created so many memorable characters that we know and love. Bruce McCulloch was a self-proclaimed young drunk punk, as you describe yourself in the book and in the TV series named after the same title. So we're really happy to have you here, stopping by here this morning to talk about all things and a brand new book called Let's Start a Riot. Here it is right here. Titled by your son.
Yes.
Is that a true story?
It was actually titled by my daughter, but I thought it would work better that it was my son who did it, so...
Creative license on your own life.
So there's problems in my home already.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Rivalries. Picking children. Let's talk a little bit about what you're working on here in Calgary, what's brought you to our neighborhood, your old stomping grounds, and shooting a small screen production on your life here in Calgary.
Literally my stomping grounds, where I used to get my head stomped in. I'm actually shooting a series for Rogers called Young Drunk Punk, which takes place in Bray Glen, my old townhouse community that I crawled out of as a teenager. And so
literally crawled out of?
Literally crawled out of. So we're shooting that here, and that's why I'm spouting this terrible mustache. It's for my character that I'm playing. And so we're in the middle of that right now.
Okay, so and there's you and your wife. Your wife is actually playing your wife. What is that like, working together?
It's quite nice, actually. And at first I was like, oh, you want to audition? Okay. And then she seemed to be the best at it, and I let everyone else say that. So it's really fun. And I don't have to be as nice to her as everyone else. I go, darling, is that the way you're going to do that scene? Yeah.
Just passive aggressive.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
a little bit, undercut it. Okay, so there's two young kids, young punks. One is a young you and his buddy.
Right.
You play your father, Lloyd.
Right.
Or modeled after your father. Does that come naturally to you?
Yeah, well, I think as we grow up, we all sort of become our fathers and sort of resist being our fathers. And yeah, then there's a couple characters who don't literally play a young me. It's sort of the spirit that I embodied, or me and my friends kind of embodied as young fools who didn't like society but had no plan to do anything. So it's about those years where you're trying to form a plan in your life.
Absolutely. Shooting in and around this city, and tell us a little bit about some of the Calgary spots that you've dug out and trying to put back in 1980. Well,
we were at Nick's Steakhouse, of course, a few times.
Which hasn't changed, I don't think.
No, it hasn't changed, and even the mustache is the same as it was there. And we're replicating the Calgarian Hotel, which was the punk bar that I also got my head beaten in.
Where is the Calgarian?
It was on 8th Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so many years ago. And just, like I say, a lot of golf cart riding around Bray Glen is what we're doing.
Sounds like a blast. It sounds like an absolute blast. Has Calgary changed much since you were here in the 80s?
Oh yeah, it's a mega city now. Well, also, of course, when you're a teenager, your world is very small. It's the record store that you go to, and it's the Calgary Corral, but it's very small. So obviously now it's a boisterous, rich city. Which it wasn't really then.
Right, it's totally different land. And some of it you put in the book, and other parts of the book include your family life, being a Hollywood dad, as you call yourself. How Hollywood are you?
Well, it's sort of a joke that I'm a Hollywood dad. It's sort of half success story and half cautionary tale that I do sort of work in Hollywood, but, so what? I don't do so well, or whatever. So yeah, no, there's some stories really about how I evolved from having kind of a crappy family to sort of cobbling together one of my own. One
of your own, and it does get quite personal. So how does your wife feel about being put in that light in the book?
Well, there is a lot of stuff about my wife and my adorable children. I think she knew that she sort of signed up for the ride when she signed up with me. But there's some stuff, and in one-person show I do called Young Drunk Punk as well. It's like, did your wife really do that? And it's like, yeah, she did do that. So,
really?
Yeah, so it's all, I guess, all par for the course.
Quite true to life. Now, your kids, they're here with you.
Yeah.
Should they grow up and want to be in the biz, how would you advise them?
Well, I guess they can do whatever they want. I'm actually hoping my young son, who's 8, will become a sommelier by the time he's a teenager.
How does he know his wines?
That's a really great question. There's a course at his school for kids with gifted palates in Hollywood, so he's been taking that.
Only in Hollywood?
Yeah.
They don't offer that course here in Calgary?
No, but they really should.
Right. He seems to be an expert. Well, the book is great. It is out this week. It's called Let's Start a Riot. And even if you don't know Bruce from Kids in the Hall, it is absolutely hilarious. I was laughing out loud at my desk reading it all of yesterday. We've been passing it around. So congratulations on the book and on Young Drunk Punk, which will air right here on City in 2015. Bruce, always great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for waking up early with us.